Welcome to Keys to E-commerce Success Ad Taxi webinar. My name is Bob Jameson. I'm the Vice President of the East Region. I also have Yael. If you'd like to introduce yourself, please.
Hello, everyone. I'm the Senior Director for Strategic Accounts and E-commerce, a very long title. Happy to be here today.
Also have Ethan.
Bob, yeah, I'm the director of ad tech over here. I basically handle all our ad tech integrations and things like that.
And the last member of our e-commerce dream team, we have Tiana.
Hey guys, I'm the Senior Account Strategist for Ad Taxi. Looking forward to going through this with y'all today.
So today's agenda. First thing we're going to roll through, Yael is going to talk about effective media diversification. Then we'll talk about optimizing customer acquisition costs. Lastly, Ethan will roll through navigating the cookieless future. So when we talk about this, there's obviously a lot of things we can talk about in the e-commerce world, but today we're going to focus on solving these four challenges. First one being improve marketing efficiency. Next, which is probably the most important in a lot of your eyes, is increasing profitability, future-proofing your marketing, and then we'll round it out talking about crafting the customer experience. But first, we'll kick it over to Yael, and she'll begin with media diversification.
Well, thank you so much. A subject that is very close to heart and something that we are talking about constantly with our business owners and our C-suite marketing level professionals. So in this webinar, I'm going to invite you all to think about media mix in the same frames as you think about your financial portfolio, and think about what your financial portfolio does for you and how media mix or the balanced media mix can affect your business. So diversifying your media mix for all weather climates. Why should you diversify your media mix? Obviously, risk mitigation is very, very important, especially in this environment. So diversifying your media and reducing the dependency on one or two main channel. And we'll look at the statistical correlation and standard deviation, what volatility means for your business, negative correlation, having channels that are positive or negative in their correlation to your revenue. The danger of dependency, kind of touched upon it, and then balanced channel mix. Is it for everyone? What does it do for your business? And why should you be thinking about it in 2024 before we head into the holidays? So starting with a risk analysis, standard deviation, what is it and why is it so important for e-commerce and retailers to think about? It is a statistical measure of volatility, and you can kind of see here on the screen that you have your different channels. You have your Google, your Meta, your TikTok, your social channels, email marketing, connected TV, which is a programmatic channel, pre-roll video, again, programmatic, and the different ROI or return on ad spend in our world and the percentage that it gets to your business. And then we also have a calculation of standard deviation of how volatile those channels are. So you can kind of see that Meta and TikTok ads are pretty volatile. Google ads have 3% volatility, and then email marketing will present the least volatility. And so when we talk about diversifying your media mix, basically what we're doing is future-proofing your business for any changes you have no control of, whether it's algorithmic changes, changes in user behavior, changes in litigation, or the laws and the rules around you. So diversified media mix in this specific example will be 3.8% of volatility. When you only have two channels, when you bucket your media mix into two main giants, your volatility goes up, which is not very good for your business. And then another thing that you should be looking at when you're thinking about your business in long term is, well, I have all these channels. How do they correlate with each other? And a true success is having all these channels work for you, but have negative correlation. So if one channel stops from one reason or another working for you, or you see decrease in revenue, or you no longer can serve on that channel, let's say Meta decided to disable your account, will the added channels continue bringing business into your store? So on the right side, you can kind of see the correlation metrics for Google and Meta. We are seeing a 60% positive correlation between the two giants, between Google and Meta. Great, you have two big channels working for you, but if one of these channels stops producing revenue, your business will have some issues. On the left side, we see a correlation metrics of different channels. So you have your Google, your Meta, your TikTok, your connected TV, your pre-roll video. And interesting enough, what we are seeing is when you have Google ads, you have a 20% negative correlation with email marketing, meaning Google ads stop working for you tomorrow, you can lean on email marketing to bring more revenue. Same thing is true for pre-roll video, for example, minus 10% correlation. So that is a healthy media mix in which we do have control over the different channels, but we are future-proofing our business when we introduce all these channels that do not correlate to one another. And then the next question, like, this is all great. We do want you to think about your media mix as though it was a financial portfolio, and you're actually, instead of investing in your retirement, you're investing in the future of your business, making sure that in any environment you will be producing revenue. Is this type of media mix right for your business, and is it right for every business? Let's say you are an SMB or a small business and you have a limited budget. So what you should be doing? Yes, you should be starting with the main channels that will produce revenue to make sure your lights are on. But slowly, as you grow your channel, you do want to dedicate a percentage of your advertisement of your media mix to channels that will offset that positive correlation. Even if those channels are not as profitable as the others, it is very healthy for you to start thinking in that, wearing those goggles. If you are a large business, that becomes even more important. You do want to diversify your business, your media mix, because the more dependent you are on these big buckets, yes, you are producing more revenue, but if one of those channels stopped working for you, you will find yourself in big trouble. So you do want to diversify your media mix, and the benefit of it is it will reduce your vulnerability. You will see stable performance. And obviously you want to continue evaluating. So just like as you do rebalancing on your investment portfolio, you want to do the same thing with your media mix, right? Every quarter, every 6 months, once a year, depends on your goals. You want to look at all of these channels, understand what is their revenue, but then also look at how closely they're correlated with each other and what is the volatility your current media mix portfolio presents to your business.
Thank you, Yael. That was a really great way to illustrate the need for a media mix. I think that's probably not a top priority for a lot of businesses. So the way you illustrated and laid it out is great, because there's always going to be external factors on all of these channels that could affect the need to shift things. So that was a great way to illustrate it. This next piece is obviously probably the highest priority for most businesses. So without further ado, I'll kick it back to Yael to start off on how you can optimize customer acquisition costs.
Well, thank you, Bob. All right, so the next hot topic is customer acquisition cost. A big pain point, especially in 2024, and it is something we talk about. We have endless conversation around what is it and how can we reduce it. So in the frame of looking at customer acquisition within the media platforms, your advertising platforms you're working with, there are things that are out of your control. What we are seeing right now in the marketplace is Google Ads CPC have been increasing. They have increased 50% year over year. Bing have increased by 10%. Meta's average customer acquisition right now has increased 20% year over year. So it's becoming more and more expensive to invest in these media channels. You still want to have them, but you want to be aware of it, of how expensive it is. In one scenario, since you have no control of it, you might want to start including different KPIs like CPMs, cost per site visits, per engagement, something that will actually give you a true meaning to what your media dollars, how they affect your revenue, your website. But another thing you can do is you can use strategic targeting to reduce these costs. And one of the things we are seeing is that when you segment your audiences, you really go after a specific niche audience that has the pain point you're trying to solve, and you have a targeted message towards that audience. Oftentimes we see them convert better. And that is represented in high click-through rates on your ads. You see more flow to your website, cost per site website goes down, more conversions happen, and obviously more revenue is harvested from that paid click. So focusing on that high ROA audiences with these messages, specific messages, and always looking to have specific content is key to reducing cost per acquisition. It is within your control. And exactly doing that will reduce the overall customer acquisition within your paid marketing. Now, going into customer acquisition outside of paid marketing, I'm going to have Tiana walk us through all the other things we should be thinking about and doing when it comes to reducing acquisition costs.
Thanks, Yael. So in addition to enhancing targeting and segmentation, which we already covered, there are 5 more key topics that are things within your control outside of the increasing cost of media year over year that a company can really focus on to drive more efficiency over time. A big one is going to be optimizing conversion rates. You can do a great job with your paid ads, but if the site isn't converting, we're going to have a hard time driving good efficiency on the site. So making smart UX optimizations is one of the ways that you can do this. Taking a look at your actual user funnel that's going through your purchase. Are they getting stuck at add to cart? Are there a lot of people at add to cart and not very many that are going over the line? Maybe none going over the line. So really getting into the site behavior that people are coming into to determine how and why they're converting and how that can be done better is super important. Number 3 would be leveraging content marketing. So things like blogs to make yourself really sticky with these customers. It might be that they don't need that product right now, but they want to learn about that topic. So becoming good friends with your customers even before they get over the line is a good way to drive raving fans for the brand overall. Focusing on customer retention. So it might be that you want to do past purchaser campaigns because you know that your customers tend to want to buy more from you over time. So getting in front of them at the right time with the right offer, even if they've already purchased from you, but at least testing it out. Some of those can be really successful. Investing in SEO. This can be super important if you're doing a site transition. So if you're transitioning between custom built website and Shopify, if you're transitioning domain names is super important as well. So making sure that you have the experts in place to help with a transition like that is important. There's also things that are good for the user experience that are also good for SEO. Things like breadcrumbs on the site actually make the site more navigable, both for the user and for Google. So things like that are great to look at when you're looking at improving your overall acquisition costs. Like I already spoke about, utilizing retargeting ads. Those can frequently have the highest ROAS because we already know that they have added that to cart. You just really need to remind them to come back and purchase that product. So those are some of the 6 ways that you can do that are within your control outside of the volatility of the marketplace. So we have a case study to walk you guys through today. So this is a client that we've been working with for about a year. They came in, they're a pretty large marketplace company, focused on mattresses as well as sheets, pillows, different products like that within your bedroom. And they started D2C in 2023, but they weren't sure how to scale it efficiently. So they brought us in to kind of take a look at their overall brand and how they can scale efficiently into D2C. They had started running Google Ads by themselves, very low efficiency. They had a conversion rate on Google Ads around 1%, and they had a negative ROAS, less than 0.5. So they really wanted to know how they could actually scale to make this a viable product for them, a viable sales channel for them versus their marketplace. These guys are big on Amazon and Wayfair. So they are competing with themselves at the same time, but finding that value on the core D2C site versus Amazon. So we've been working with them for about a year on this. Some of the big things that we focus on, like we talked about, increasing conversion rate. So most weeks, we're talking about possible UX improvements to make to the site. It could be working on the funnel. It could be improving the homepage to add social proof to show other happy consumers using the products. So all of that got added over the last year. Another big part of it was diversifying the paid ads. So you definitely want to be volatility proof, like Yael was talking about. You can't just have one channel. And actually, Google is one of the worst to just have that because it has a 3 volatility. So it's definitely not the best to just have one channel. So we tested into these other channels. Overall, we have tested programmatic, which went super well for them. So they run display, they run CTV, and they tested out different channels as well in the mix, also social. So, which is great for brand awareness as well as retargeting. So over the course of the last year, all of those have become profitable for them at their goals for their costs on the site. So really happy about that. So overall, the cost per acquisition with this diversified mix, as well as smart optimizations to the site, we have seen 60% lower cost in Google Ads cost per acquisition. So the people that are more likely to convert now, they're driving higher revenue, more efficiency for them year over year. The conversion rate, and a lot of that is the conversion rate has gone up substantially. So these guys were right around 1% conversion rate for May of 2023. And for May of 2024, they were over 10% on Google Ads. So really successful. And a lot of this, we can't say this was just us. It was a partnership between the two, really thinking about who these customers were and how to better serve them with the website is a lot of that success. But overall, their bottom line is looking great year over year. So they've had a 669% increase in revenue. They were making less than $10,000 a month. They're making significantly more now in 2024. So we're really proud of the work that we've done with this client. And a lot of that is just diversifying the mix, testing things in. Doesn't have to be a huge budget, but it is good to test in brand awareness channels as well. So CTV, yes, it drives revenue, but a lot of that is prospecting, getting in front of the right people, as well as retargeting. For these guys, we use that channel a lot for retargeting. So people that have already come in to the ecosystem, they've already done an add to cart, we're hitting them with a premium placement on the biggest screen in their house to really validate that this is a legit company, you want this mattress. So it's been going extremely well, but that is because they're open to testing in these new channels to see how they go. And so overall, seen really good success year over year by doing these things. Yeah, so I hope that's helpful. I think, Bob, back to you.
Yeah, thanks, Tiana. That's amazing. 669% increase in DTC revenue. Like, what a way to supplement what they're doing in the marketplaces. That's excellent. Obviously, the looming deprecation of the third-party cookie has a lot of marketers just concerned about what's next. And Ethan's going to walk us through what to expect and some really good tips on how to navigate that. So over to you, Ethan.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah. So as Bob says, this has kind of been at the forefront of a lot of people's minds. We know the death of the third-party cookie is coming. We've already experienced it in some browsers. I think to start out with, I'll just kind of talk about what the cookie is, how it's used today, and then kind of what we're moving towards. And hopefully you'll walk away and things won't be so much doom and gloom for you anymore, and you'll have some things to actually look forward to with the death of the third-party cookie. I'm excited for it myself. So hopefully you will be too here. So the basics of it are, a cookie is just a piece of data that's stored on your browser. First-party cookies are things that you're setting from your own website and domain. These are often used to just enhance the experience on the website. So if you're an e-commerce site, people might want to be able to log in and view their order history. Cookies come into play there. For our purposes in the advertising world, we deal with a lot of third-party cookies, and those are set by the ad platforms, think Google, Facebook, etc. There's many reasons why I don't think third-party cookies are great. They're just easy to work with. There's some privacy risks around them, and I think that's really kind of the driving factor for getting rid of them. Things like GDPR came out, and now we're forced to deal with that. So let's talk about the potential challenges this creates for us as a result of these laws that are kind of getting put on us, where we have to find alternative solutions. So data activation, today cookies are used to sync and identify devices is what I'll say. Our slide here says users, but really I think it's important to understand the cookies exist on the device. It's not, something that follows a particular person around. And so that's how we sync and let ad platforms know, hey, this was the person that saw this ad, or this person did this thing on our website, and we'd like to target them under this audience. Which leads into things like ad targeting or retargeting and suppression. So if my third-party cookies are going away, I'm sure a lot of people are asking, will I still be able to retarget these users if they don't have those cookies on their computers? And for today's purposes as well, we're talking about the cost of acquisition. So being able to suppress existing customers is a great way to reduce your costs. And so, the big question will be, how do I suppress those users if they don't have that cookie on their computer? And then, the other challenge we have here is attribution. So if you want to figure out where your money is best spent, being able to attribute user behavior to those ad platforms is going to be critical moving forward as well. So how do we attribute that behavior? These are all kind of the challenges that we're asking ourselves. How are we going to do this in this new third-party cookieless future? There's a lot of people that are smarter than me that have been thinking about this for years and have been building tools for these sorts of challenges, I would say. And so there's actually some great solutions out there that you could start exploring. And so I kind of jump into talking about what that looks like. So, I was talking about we were targeting devices with cookies. If I go to your public library and the cookies on the computer at the public library, are we really targeting that user? No. So being forced to move away from the third-party cookie, we have to ask ourselves, how do I target a person? And how do I create a profile for that person? So we're moving away from third-party and moving towards first-party data, which is going to be stronger and more robust. And I need to capture these signals along the way and stitch these signals together, because I might see somebody on their mobile device and I might see them on their desktop computer, and they might actually see something on their connected TV when they're logged into their Roku. They might even make the purchase there. The way customers experience things in today's environment is just not a click to a conversion on a website. It's just not the way it is. And that's why we're talking about diversifying your marketing mix. So by creating a unified customer profile, we're able to essentially target the users with the right message at the right time, no matter what device they're on. And this is being done through things like customer data platforms. So when somebody lands on your website, let's send some information back to something like Segment or Telium or Adobe Experience Cloud, whatever it is. We're going to start tracking that behavior, and we're going to start stitching it together so that we build a much stronger picture of who that person is. And then by having a centralized data hub for this sort of behavior, we can then send these signals out to all platforms. So things like suppression that I was talking about earlier. If I make a purchase on my mobile device and I don't have the cookies for 4 of the ad platforms that we're advertising on, how do I suppress that person? I'm not going to be able to do that. So being able to then take that, personal data, scrape it out and send it back to these ad platforms, so we can basically suppress people in real time. So this unified customer profile is great for targeting, but it can also help you out with just improving that customer experience. So, I feel like it's like a 3% conversion rate we see on people for websites. Being able to better understand your audience is going to give you an opportunity to actually probably improve the bottom of your funnel. And so I would say this is not only just for targeting, but this is for, optimizing your whole entire website, optimizing your cross-channel approaches, things like that. So I'll stop right here and see if you might have any questions for me related to this stuff. If not, I can jump into kind of some of the next slide stuff as well.
Well, Ethan, I do have a question for you. On this slide, it says cross-channel, and I know we've heard that word so many times, years and years, and omni-channel. for me, it seems like this is the first time we can actually be using omni-channel approach. Would you be able to talk to it, and how will that affect offline and online retailers?
Wonderful. I think that's a great question. So we actually have quite a few customers that, I'll say what we would have considered omni-channel before was probably not truly omni-channel. Things weren't talking to each other. They were kind of running in their own silos. We were targeting all these different things, but were they really communicating and moving people through the funnels and targeting them with the right message at the right time? And I'd say probably not very well, like especially the real-time thing for me. Real-time's important. I think for a lot of people, real-time would have been like waiting a week or something before. Now for me, real-time is milliseconds. Even waiting 10 minutes is probably too long. So we can talk about like customers we have with retail businesses, with stores that people walk into and make purchases. Like we have one customer that's like that, and the way we were suppressing people who made purchases in their store is that customer would, at the end of the week, export a file from, their internal tools that would say, hey, these are all the people that made purchases for us. They would upload that into an Amazon web server. We'd have to go in via FTP, download that information. We'd have to hand that out to all our campaign managers, who then have to go upload these into these systems. And so you're basically going through a very manual process to suppress people we know have made purchases. And, it takes like a week to start suppressing these people. So in some sense, that's wasted ad spend for any of those people that are being shown that ad. With these new tools, instead you connect directly to their point of sale system. The second somebody makes that purchase, that data is fed back into the CDP, and the CDP can say, hey, I've seen this person actually on their mobile device. I've seen this person on their desktop device. Let's stitch all this data together. And now I can send the signal back out to Google Ads, and I can suppress this person for the next week or 2 weeks or however long you feel like you should suppress your existing customers. And then the same concept, you might know somebody actually entered into the store and didn't buy something. You might want to bucket that person into a different list and say, hey, we really should be retargeting this person to figure out how we can bring them back into the store, figure out why they didn't find what they were looking for, offer them a coupon, any number of things. And so really just having that unified picture of a person, you can move them into different buckets in real time, and make sure that you're effectively spending your ad dollars, so that when that person makes a purchase in the store, it's not, oh, well, because they're not in a digital environment, we'll just pretend like that never happened. So I think in this sense, it's going to be great for improving these cross-channel campaigns. Basically, these ad platforms are all going to be working with the same data instead of, the disparate data of, oh, did my cookie fire or did it not? So that's kind of what I see for cross-channel. I think we're going to see a lot of improvements actually there for people that adopt this technology.
Wow, this is gold. I hope our listeners are taking notes as you talk about these different bullet points, because they're so important. The good things that cookieless future brings with it. So this is a perfect segue to the customer experience. Would you be able to talk through it?
Yeah, I'd love to. So, like I started out with, one of the reasons we're pushing towards these changes is related to privacy. Me as a consumer, I like when I see that my privacy is being respected. There's nothing I hate more than, doing business with somebody and then finding out that they sold my data to somebody else. That's not what I signed up for. And so third-party cookies, they were owned by a third party. Whatever data they got, they were getting. And so moving into this first party environment, it's got a lot more privacy protections for consumers, and consumers want control over, their data. And so me being able to control what data I share with, third parties, I can ensure that it's only the data they need, that I'm not passing additional information just because there was a cookie on their site. And there's lots of things like opting into customer data and being, more strategic with the information they're willing to give us. So we can ask them questions and improve that customer experience. Hey, customer, what do you like? So often we're not even just asking that and getting that zero-party data and improving the customer experience on it. So if somebody tells you, hey, I like adventure video games, well, that gives me a lot of information to work with. I'm not going to show them puzzle games if I'm selling games. So I'm going to focus on the thing that they told me they liked and they opted into that. Let's cut out this other stuff. So these new technologies, are replacing cookies, but I think they're ultimately going to enhance and improve our strategies. Frankly, they're opening up doors that we didn't have. I couldn't really do true cross-device targeting. A connected TV doesn't have cookies. So how do things work in that environment? But Roku could tell me who's logged into the thing, and I could tell you I have this person's email address. Perfect. Now we know who that person is on their television. So these are improvements. Frankly, it's going to be rough making the transition. You're going to be like, I'm losing a lot of data, but the data that you're going to start getting is going to be a lot stronger. And so I feel like the decisions you make are going to be a lot more meaningful because they're going to be based on a lot more first-party information rather than third-party blurred data that you're getting today. So I think the customer experience has a lot of opportunities to improve. Websites can be improved. This is the bright side of this change is I think people are going to get more of what they want and less of the noise that we were creating before.
And then, so again, another perfect segue to are people getting what they want? So if you are a business owner and you are doing everything we just said, you're diversifying your media mix and you are looking at CDPs, trying to think about how you're going to increase your customer experience and the conversion rate on your website. Here are a couple KPIs you should be thinking about when it comes to tracking. So customer satisfaction score, that is something you can do as a plugin on your website, presented to anyone who purchased or visited your website. Net Promoter Score, a third-party company that can gauge customer loyalty and the likelihood of your customers recommending your brand to their friends and family, which is a great way to understand how what grade of a customer experience you have. Customer lifetime value, we heard about that term, but really, if you're taking steps into creating a custom experience for your shopper, your LTV should go up. So that's a really good metric to follow. And then conversion rate. Conversion rate is so important. Ethan mentioned 3% is the average right now in the US. What will happen to your business if from 3%, by taking all these steps, you're going to go to 6%, and then from 6%, you're going to go to 10%. Those percentage steps are huge incremental business for revenue making. And I think this is the conclusion of this important topic.
Great job, everyone. Really good insights from all of you guys. I actually think that it's really hard to speak about these things in general, and you provide a lot of value when you go through all that. And if anybody wants to speak individually about your individual situation, you can get access to this team, and they'll do a world of good for you. But if you do have questions, please reach out to info@adtaxi.com or call us toll free at 877-856-4668. Thank you. Thank you for your time, everyone. And thank you guys.